Welcome to MJC Kitchen and Bathrooms. This bathroom is a bit of everything for you. So there's a long walk-in shower tray which will be going in. There'll be a 12mm wet wall which will be going round the shower, and there will be tiles for the rest of it. So the first thing MJC Kitchen and Bathroom do, get here, take his shoes off, tape it all up completely. So we tape it all up, all the way around, all the way down, and just taping in that doorway there. And this is the bathroom. Now, unfortunately, all that stain could do with coming out and putting a new combi in, but it is what it is. So what we'll be doing here, we'll be building this out to make it 800. Otherwise, the shower tray cannot fit in. They did want the shower going along that wall. I did want to put it along that wall and put shower there to make it easy access, but they wanted it this way, so we'll do it this way. This bathroom has been done for 30 years. The tile are solid. Behind there, it will be bone dry. I am gathering, when I start knocking this off, all this is going to be like old, really dusty and not very nice, but it's going to fall off. The bottom layer, chances are it's going to be concrete from the old concrete tiles. Now that is going to be solid to get on. We will see what it is. I'm going to drop the ceiling in, see how the ceiling slopes from that point to that point. So what we're going to do is make it level. So we'll make it level from there all the way across there, all the way around, and we'll drop it 100mm for spotlights to go in ceiling, and so it's nice and level, so when we tile you don't get that horrible line of it dropping. Rest of it should come out. We've got a sink, toilet staying in the same place. Obviously we're going to be altering that plumb work, and that plumbing we'll just do new. So we'll repipe it all in plastic. There's this pipe work underneath here which we need to get rid of underneath the bath, which we will get rid of. In fact, as you can see, all that pipe work we need to get rid of, because there's going to be a shower tray which is going down on the floor, and I'm planning to put it onto the floor. That's what 30-year-old plumbing is. Do you know what I mean? Get that gate valves on it and that. We're going to get rid of all this. We'll make it beautiful. Chances are that's 3/4. So we'll have to adapt it back to 22, and we'll go from there. Bish, bash, bosh. So after checking the electrics, they are very dodgy. Very dodgy. And then there's no earth to property. Well, no earth to the lighting circuit. That's not on a trick switch. So what we're going to have to do is we'll have to put his own little consumer box in for the shower and these lighting circuits. Then we've advised them that the rest of the house will need doing at some point if they choose to, and it's up to them whether they get it done or not, but they've been advised. So now comes a bit of a bigger job, but never mind, we don't have problems, only solutions. So we'll sort it out. We'll get a 10mm cable to that, we'll get a nice earth with lights, and it'll be beautiful. And doing these, I like to leave the bath in because there's always holes underneath it. So we're going to knock it off, and how you need to start, you get one tile off first, and then the rest will pop off. So why have I got no electric?
What have you turned off?
We need electric! I've just turned up says circuit off. Light.
Just like.
Yeah. Right, that could be an issue. Right, now we've got a bit of electric. Look how thick that is. It's about 2 inches. Now I just want to prove a fact here. Now this bathroom has been done for 30 years. This has been a shower. Look how dry that is. Look how dry that is. Now in a shower room or a wet room or anything like that, this is what it should be, dry. So if someone's getting through there, you haven't done the job which you should have done in the first place and tiled it correct. And if it's not tiled correct or it's not whatever coating you're putting onto the plasterboard, if you haven't done it correct, that is what the problem is. Nothing else. It needs to be like this. This is dry. Look at this, just dry as a board. This is just going to fall off. It's going to fall off. It's going to be very dusty. Show you. That'll be concrete. That's how dry it is. You know why it's dry? Because the tiles have done the job. Whoever's tiled this 30 years ago, tiled it right. And that's all what you have to do. Remember that. I'm going to crack on, knock it off, move the GoPro so it don't get dirty. We'll have it off in an hour. Little update. So all the tiles are off the walls. What you have to do is remember, you know, when you're going on a wall like this and it's breeze, it's different to the brick walls, because the brick walls you can hammer them, give them a good old pasty, get the tiles off, get all the backing off. On these you can't, because with your chisel it goes in. Can you see how I've just scraped it? And it just takes time, perseverance. So what you got to remember is the other side is old, and it's all old. So sometimes you can't make an omelette without cracking eggs, but it has to come off. It's got to come off. Same with this wall. That's what we're left with after you take tiles off. You see all these loose bits. It's no good trying to tile back onto that, because you're tiling onto loose surfaces. So again, steady away with the chisel, scrape it off, don't go into the breeze, otherwise it just causes complications everywhere. So you'd be tempted to leave that on, but where the door is there, by the time you boarded it and then tiled it, the tiles will be stood in front of the door. So you can't do that, so we have to scrape that right back so we can get a board on it and make it flat. It will be however level it is from that door. You can't make it level, it might be an inch out this wall. You're not going to get an inch at the bottom. So just as long as it's flat, so the tiles go flat, bish bash bosh, beautiful. So we'll crack on, get that done, and then clean it up, and we'll glue it ready for tomorrow.
What are you doing with sunflower then? You're just going on?
No, we'll take it up. This is how we used to tile back in here. 30 years ago they used to use ply. Look how dry that ply is. It's not wet whatsoever. That is because it's been tiled correct, and there's no the grout has not cracked on the tiles, which in turn has not let the water through onto the wooden floor.
Full bed of sprayed as well.
Yeah, full bed, beautiful. To get them up we're using this bent chisel, and this is how we're doing them. porcelain tiles, your managers will pop them up because they're very solid porcelain tiles. But as you can see, that board is going dry. Obviously we will not be tiling onto this, we will be using a jacker board on the floor because it's easier than a board. That's the only reason though. People were asking how does it work with only one toilet. What happens is we put a toilet back in at the end of the night. That toilet we ain't taken out, so we're going to take it out today. The top will come off and you'll flush it with a bucket until we finish. Because we'll be re-plumbing it and we need to knock that wall off and reboard it all. So all the walls are knocked off. Now ready. So what we need to do is, this has already had 2 coats on it, you can see there's still a little bit of dust coming off it, it needs another coat. So PVA, 2 litres of PVA, 4 litres of water, mix it in, we've got a nice big fluffy roller. And then all we're going to do is roller it on the walls. We're just going to clean this room back out so we don't wet a sheet. And then we'll roll it on wall and it'll be beautiful. So when we're PVAing 2 litres, 4 litres, it goes 10 litres. Brush upside down. This has been soaking all night this. So we just let a bit of it run off. Oh baby, you like to drive me crazy. Always start at the top. Nice and slow. Slow earns a race. Always start at the top. You know why we always start at the top? So it can run down the wall. Start at the bottom, he's going to run down the wall. Make sure you give it a good coating. Don't worry about the floor getting wet, just mop it up. The faster you go with the roller, the more bits you're going to get all over. Beautiful. And for them corners we get a little brush. And we'll just brush in for the corners for the bigger pieces. And then all you have to do is, once you roll it, quite therapeutic this. Quite therapeutic. You know what I mean? It's quite therapeutic. Cover the toilet, otherwise you get glue all over the toilet. And it's just a nightmare to clean up. Off the windows, you make sure you wipe it now, as soon as you're finished, and you can't go wrong. Hey! See, that's already coated, is that? You can tell the difference on that plastic because it hasn't gone, it hasn't changed colour, it stayed the same colour. That's because it's already had 2 coats on it. These walls needed an extra coat because there's not a lot of dust coming off it, but there's still a little bit, do you know what I mean? Where there needs to be none. Because if there's dust coming off it, the adhesive won't stick to it. When we don't dab it, then it'll pull off. So when we do not like this, don't be tempted to put all the bits down there. Get a bucket take all the bits off, put it in the bucket, put the bucket in the skip. Because what happens is people drop a load of stuff down there, and then that in turn blocks the cavity up, and that in turn can cause damp. So whatever you can get out, I mean, you only can go so far. It's like all in life, innit? Do you know what I mean? But whatever you can get out, always put in. See that bucket there? That's a full bucket off that window ledge, just in rubble and rubbish what were there. So we've taken it all out. We'll take it down. The house needs to breathe. Houses need to breathe. If they can't breathe, that's what causes your damp issue. So the cavities are there to allow this property to breathe, so you have no damp issue. So make sure you're not tempted, or if you've got a labourer who's with you, make sure he's not tempted just to pour all the crap down, because believe me, they do it, because I see it. So put it in a bucket, straight into the skip, bish bash bosh, beautiful. So I'm using this adhesive. You've only got 60 minutes working time with this, so you've got to be quick. So on your bucket, check there's a little measurements there. So it needs to be, move out lightly, needs to be just less than 14 litres this in water to one bag. So we know we're round about correct Mundo there, because you can see that's 15 litres. There's water lines there, so we're around about 14 litres. So it's beautiful. So we'll pour it in, mix it as we go, let it stand for a couple of minutes, and then mix it again, and then we'll be ready to start boarding. Boarding. What you want to do is get your boards up, because you've only got 60 minutes here. I'm fast, do you know what I mean? But I'm getting old. So I get my boards up first. Measure the wall, 900 by 1800 boards, so we know the height of them, we know the width of them. So measure from there, see what that gap is. That gap is this gap is 1670, so we're going to leave 10mm gap either side of it. So one of them boards needs cut down to 740, so I'm going to cut it to 740 now, so I know it's cut. Then I know that wall there is easy. Do you know what I mean? It's easy. It's like just easy. So we'll cut it down to 740. We've got 900, 740. That'll make the 1670 minus 20mm, and then we're ready. Then I might even do a few more measures and cut a few more, because I reckon we'll get that wall and that wall out of one bag. So I'll measure that wall, and I'll do the same. That wall looks a bit bigger. That's 1700, so it's not much bigger. So we want to cut that 780. So we'll cut that and 780, and then we've got 4 boards which you can put on easy. The top ends we'll measure and cut as we're doing it, just make it easier. But we've got 4 boards we can just bang straight on. That'll take us like 5 minutes, if that. I'll coat them and I'll show you how. Wants to be nice and creamy like that. If you're starting out and you only just boarding, what I'd recommend is the gypsum plaster. The gypsum plaster adhesive, I think it's a good product. This stuff is a bit tricky. If you're not quick with it, it does go off, and then the boards don't stick, and then you have complications. But if you do have complications, what you can do is you can drill holes in them and put some mega stick through it. So now I'm just giving it a couple of minutes, let it settle. I'm going to give it a final mix, and then I'm going to start boarding, and we're going to bang them straight on. Bish bash bosh. For that to dry, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a load of little slivets like this off. Do with a sharper knife really, because you should always leave a gap at the bottom. Reason why you leave a gap at the bottom, because if you were to skim it and you were to decorate it, whenever the floor moves, your plaster could crack. So we're just going to have a load of little slits like this, so we can stand the board on it. Sometimes we might need 2 in, sometimes we might need 1 in, all depends, but just as long as there's a gap, that's all you want. Nice gap like this. So what you got to think is, in a property, the floor, unless it's concrete floor, even a concrete floor can move, but if it's a wooden floor, if you imagine walking on it and that plasterboard is touching the floor, the pressure will end up cracking your plaster. So that's why you always leave a nice gap. Leave a gap. I leave a gap all the way around, and then we'll foam it in. And then if there's any movement, it's not straining it. And your boarding, you want to dot your board like that. Reason being is it's for fire and for so no air can get back at that board. So when we squash that on, it's going to be a sealed unit all the way around. And then we'll put some packers underneath floor, and then we're just going to get it all on the wall and board it. Boarding it, I use a level, a nice good strong level. I use that because it's level and it's easier, so when you put it on, make sure you tap it on with both hands. So if you tap it on with one hand, the level's vibrating and you're only squashing in the top half or the bottom half, wherever you're tapping. Get it with both hands, tap it together, and you'll tap it flat. What I do is, once I put it on, I don't start pushing it in until I know. And then I push them in both together. What you don't want is any gaps. No gap or window. So you don't want no gaps, so where it's pulled in there at top, we just need to pull it out a bit, then we'll get his mega stick on job.
Chisel there.
We'll get his mega stick on job, and that'll pull it out. Out my camera. Just comes in and stands in my camera, doesn't he? What am I going to do with that? Do you know what I mean? Big dirty chisel. There we go. Where that board in there needs to be flat. This is what you want, flat. That flat. Because say this wall's getting wet walled, but if you were tiling it, you don't want any divots, and it don't matter if it's slightly a little bit in. But if it's slightly a little bit out and it's not level and flat, tiles aren't going to go flat. You know what I mean? So when we board Tyler, all he has to do, he doesn't even have to think. Just come in, he knows the walls are flat, he bangs his tiles on. As easy as that. When you're doing old properties like this, what you got to think is everything's out. The wall's bent, it's twisted in there. Look from that bottom line to there. Look at the state of that. All the way up. See how far out it juts? Now we're using porcelain tiles. We need to make it something like, we need to make it flat. We're never going to get it perfect, purely and simply because it's impossible. because I like to keep this distance from there to there the exact same as that side, but because the house is twisted, we need this square for the shower. So this is 10mm. Now I know 10mm is not a lot, and we're not going to notice it when it's tiled, but I work in millimetres, so 10mm to me is a lot. Do you know what I mean? A lot. But there's nothing I can do physically possible, because if I push that in 10mm, that's going to make a bigger gap there, and by the time we get there for the shower, it'll be way too big. So it has to be bang on. So we'll be 10mm out on the window, which you won't notice it when we cut the tile into it. And here what we're going to have to do is we're just going to have to say a prayer. Say a prayer and make it look beautiful. What I'm doing is I'm dropping this ceiling. So to drop the ceiling, I haven't finished boarding, but the electrician has to get in to do the spotlights. We want to make it level. So making it level, and what you got to do is bear in mind your tiles. So the tiles are 300, so I've made it so all the tiles just stack up on top of each other and you won't even realise. We're going to have a little cut to the floor because the ceiling is going to be bang level. So we'll have a slight cut so we can alter the tiles, make sure that they're all stacking up neatly. And we're going to go to that line. As you can see the difference in level. You don't want to be bashing about on this ceiling because chances are it's asbestos. Well, it's not asbestos, it's definitely got asbestos in it, the Artex. So you don't want to touch your ceiling whatsoever. We're dropping it for the to make it level, because can you see the difference in so it's looking good. Finish the boarding off tomorrow, then we're going to have to look at this cupboard. We'll dismantle it and we'll go from there. So thank you for watching MJC Kitchens and Bathrooms. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share with your friends. And all my videos will be this will be classed as whatever I class it as at the front, and then when you see the next one it will say P2, P3, so on and so on. So you know you always need to watch it from 0 onwards, and you'll be able to understand where we're coming from, and you'll be able to see us doing it day by day, bit by bit. Rome wasn't built in a day. Still got a bit. We've got to get a 10mm cable in now for the electric shower, which is going to be going over there. So I'll get on with that, get the cable in, and then we will clean up, call it a day, finish it off tomorrow, make it look all nice and tidy. Foundations, make sure the foundations are bulletproof. This is for a plastic roof, so that's why I've put them so close together, to make my life easier when I'm doing it, so it won't sag.